In this video, we're going to be working out the experimental probabilities using the random function in Excel. Your first step is to start filling in this table above here. So we've got our outcomes down here, and now I have assigned a value to those outcomes. So it's easiest if you just pick one letter to represent that outcome. It doesn't really matter, it's just going to go in this table over here. Now I've copied and pasted these probabilities from my other page, and then I've worked out the cumulative probability frequency. So starting at 0, what is going on? Starting at 0 here, and then I've put C2 in, and then I've added these two together to make this one here. Now the next one is going to be the sum of the 3 above it, and then this one down here is going to be the sum of the 4. We don't need to include the other column in this one. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in our table with random values. I'm going to start by pressing equals, and then I'm going to write index. Index is the function that we use to look stuff up. Now I'm going to put a bracket, $B, $2, and you can see that it's showing me over here in the blue underneath the value column where I'm actually looking it up from. So that's going to go all the way down to B6. Now finish that off with the bracket. All that's going to do with the $sign is stop it from dragging that blue box around as I drag it around over here. Otherwise, it's going to start looking up values down here, which isn't going to help us out later. Now, I'm going to put a comma in because I'm going to add some extra code in. So I'm going to match, and I want to do that randomly. Helps if you spell it right. So here, random, fill that in. I'm going to finish that bracket off, and then I want it to look it up between D2 all the way up to D6. Now, it's saying that I've put too few arguments in. So I'm just going to go over to where I've already done this and copy and paste. So here is the same for me. Copy it. Nope, nothing wants to work now. This is the third time I've tried to remake this video. So now I am just going to go to my experimental, to the one I've already pre-prepared. I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to go to my thing over here, paste that in there. Oh my God, this is killing me. Pretty much you just need to write this code in up there and then you drag it around. Okay, once you've done that, you can use your count if function. So here, start typing in count if, and then you're going to input what value you want there. So that relates to up here. So that's saying to it, count if this whole highlighted blue section, count it if it's a Y. Underneath, you'll see that I've changed this to a red, and then underneath that, it's a blue. Underneath that, it's a green. So that relates to these values up here. In the experimental probability section, I've done the answer that's there divided by the total down here. So make sure that you count this first. So to do that, all I did was add together these ones above to make sure that I have at least 1,000 trials. Now you can have more trials, less trials, it doesn't actually matter. Next thing we're going to do is work out the difference. So all you have to do for that one is your theoretical probability, subtract your experimental probability, and that'll get your answer there. Now you can see that these values are very similar. You've probably also noticed that every time that I click something in this, all of the values are changing. Okay, there is no way that I know of to freeze your random values. So that's why it's important to take screenshots of this side anytime that you get your experimental probability or your house edges and stuff to be the numbers that you want, because next time you click it, it's going to go again and you might have to click a couple of times to get what you want. Now, for the house edge, these values were just copied and pasted from your theoretical probability. So that's your house win per dollar. House edge is going to be calculated, again, by doing this one, your house win per dollar multiplied by your experimental probability this time to work out your experimental house edge. So here, the house edge is now 0.18, meaning that it's about 18%, okay, or 19% if you round it. So that's not bad for us. That's looking pretty good. So I would be taking a screenshot of this information, put it into my assignment, comment on the house win per dollar, comment on the differences between. As part of your assignment, you need to be commenting on the differences between the theoretical and the experimental probability. Now, none of these are more than 1% away, which is very good. That means that your theoretical outcomes are matching your experimental outcomes. But in saying that, this is a computer-generated random. So it's still running off some sort of formula. And it's also taking our probabilities into account up here. If you did this in the physical world with physical things, you may find that your theoretical and your experimental are much further apart. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it is something that you could talk about in your evaluate and verify. Maybe to work out the experimental outcomes, maybe you could do a small experiment and do the Excel document. Okay, that would be something that would be a limitation of your model. And I think that's everything for the Excel document. Once you've got this, you're happy, you can move on.